Hello, I am Sandra Lee, and this is Thursday Tips for Thriving. I am talking about stress and how it affects brain function and memory, and talking about letting go of stress. This is going to be live in Facebook, and if you have questions, then post them for me. I am checking Facebook right now so that I can find the live and see your comments. So if you have questions, there we go. You're welcome to ask me anything you want. Ask me anything. Hi, Karen. So lovely having you on again. So, stress. And Karen is another person who is an expert in helping people to be well and renew. So, how to relax and let go of the stress. So, I have a Biofield Tuning group session series that is starting on October 27th, Wednesday. And this is about memory and clear thinking. Because I have this series coming up, I have been doing research, listening to a whole range of different experts in this case, Alzheimer's prevention and how to manage, deal with, help to improve brain function associated with this particularly devastating condition. So I have been like filling my head with all of these various different types of things that can be done to support ongoing ability to think clearly and remember. And absolutely, stress is something that people ignore. And the consequences of this over the long term can be devastating. I have talked before about how stress is basically considered normal for life, for people who want to be successful or people who have lots of kids and are really, really busy. Stress is considered normal. But the impact on the body over the long term is huge. Huge, huge, huge. And as I, again, do the research on this whole brain function, preventing Alzheimer's thing, these experts are all talking about how the degeneration that leads to dementia, Alzheimer's, all of these symptoms is going on for decades before you have any actual symptoms. So if you think of yourself as talking about stress right now, having a life where you have persistent stress, including me, I'm in this too, right? Looking at, is this causing potentially damage to my ability to function and have brain work for me for the rest of my life? Yes, we do normalize stress. I'm agreeing with Karen. Absolutely. So it's almost expected, actually, for people in the business world, the success world, building business, marketing, being successful. It's pretty much expected that if you're not working hard, you're not working hard enough for your success. So the expectation is that I am going to work myself until I can't work anymore to create this success. It's a standard. What is expected? And I know I was in a program where I had a lot of homework to do, plus working on marketing and all these things that I've been really doing, because I'm doing some really big things right now. New programs, changing things, all this stuff. And it's great to have this positive stress because it's all towards good things. But if it makes me sick, if it keeps me from being able to sleep because I'm up, so I was up until 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning some days, sometimes even more than once a week, trying to keep up with the homework for this program I was in. And I decided that is too much stress. I can't handle it. It's making me day to day not get enough rest so that I notice I'm tired, not able to think clearly just from being tired day to day. So it's like if I look at, do I have that level of stress on an ongoing basis over the course of years? What is the effect going to be on my brain and on my ability to use my brain? So I put a pause on that program. I'm going to pick it up again in January, actually, when all of this intense stuff that I'm doing right now is pretty much completed. Because I want the value that I was getting from that program, but the timing for me was terrible because I already had too much going on. Fortunately, this is, again, positive stress that is limited in duration, and there's specific reasons why I'm doing it, right? So it's like stress is important. We can't live without stress completely. It's not possible. But I hopefully am able to control a little bit what the stresses are, how intense they are, and how I manage them. There are some of the stresses in life that I may not be able to stop. In this case, I was able to, pause a program I was in to decrease the load on me, decrease the stress. There are some things that you might not be able to pause. You might not be able to stop. If you have, I know people who have 5 children. I can't imagine what that takes. Like how much work, how much time, how much, love and attention. It's amazing how mothers with lots of children do it. I admire you tremendously because I know that that amount of stress would be more than I could deal with. Some people love it, and I respect and admire you for that. But there's like an amount of stress in your life in that situation that you can't really turn off. You can't. Once you have children, they're your children. And you're responsible for taking care of them and providing for them. So there are certain stresses which I can control, like putting a program on pause, and there's stresses that I can't control. So how do I manage it? How do I keep those stresses, whatever they are, from being overwhelming and causing, long-term damage? As I listen to these experts talking about, again, all of these factors that influence memory and dementia the development of dementia and the ability to regain mental capacity. That's one of the big things about this series. I'm learning it's possible to rebuild brain capacity in this series that I have coming up about memory and clear thinking. The first session is going to focus on rebuilding stress. There are so many different ways of helping to manage stress. One is just pausing in the middle of a crazy day, in the middle of a crazy project, middle of the busyness, just stopping and breathing. I was just on with Karen on Sunday. It was World Mental Health Day, and we were talking about this managing stress. And one of the things that Karen suggests, and I suggest as well, is just paying attention to something that is happening right now. Sensations. Paying attention to what you see, what I hear, what I touch. That brings me into the present moment. When I am stressing out, when I am overwhelmed, it's because I am worrying about something happening in the future, or I'm worried about something that has already happened in the past. I am not right now. So, one of the things that you can do to help to manage and release stress is to bring yourself into now and let go of the worries about the things coming in the future and let go of the things that already happened in the past because they're done. So come into the present moment. And like Karen was talking about on Sunday, just like look at something. For me, looking at the painting on the wall over there and really appreciating the color. Listening to the ticking of the clock on the wall. It's a sound. How do I feel? When I'm sitting on my chair and, you know, feeling the chair underneath me. Again, this is a physical sensation. And yes, Karen says, breathe. That's my message all the time. I, in every email, I say breathe at the end. And in many of my posts and comments and things like that, I put in breathe everywhere so that it's a reminder to the person who's reading it to breathe. And it's as much a reminder for me because I need the reminder too. I benefit from remembering to breathe. We all do. And it's a good way to help relieve the stress, to come into the present, and to let go of the tension. Let's talk about tension, muscle tension. Been a massage therapist for 30 years. And during that time, everybody has muscle tension. I would say every single person, maybe not literally, but any adult, basically, who has responsibilities and pressures, they're going to have muscle tension. How much? That varies. Karen's also a massage therapist, and so she knows that this is such an accumulation that people have. Neck and shoulders is a really big place where people have tension. Lower back, people have tension. But depending on your specifics, if you use your arms and hands a lot, lots of computer work, lots of writing, lots of tension in the hands and arms, shoulders, perhaps associated with that. So it's like wherever it is you have tension, can you release the tension? And that takes pausing what you're doing and paying attention and choosing to let the tension go. So let's think about the shoulder tension that is so common. What technique can you use to help to release that tension? One is to increase the tension and then let it go. So it's like, ooh, tight, 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 tight. And just imagine I'm releasing the tension. If you spend a lot of time at a desk, at a computer, when you notice you have tension in your shoulders, you can do that at your job. If you're having an office at home, you can increase the tension and let it go. And when I do that, naturally, I breathe out. You can even make a sound. The sound really helps, actually. Just imagining I'm releasing the tension wherever it is. A common place where people have tension and sometimes pain from overuse, usually, is in their wrists and hands. The whole um, carpal tunnel and, tennis elbow and those kinds of things, those arm and hand tension and pain that come from overuse. So it's like, "Mm, tight, 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 tight," and let it go. So that's one thing you can do to help decrease the buildup of stress, is to work with the muscle tension and to help it to release. Now, thinking about that again, another thing that can be important to do to help to manage stress is, figure out if your workstation, your desk, wherever it is you spend a lot of time, that maybe it might not be set up properly. One time I did an ergonomics assessment and adjustment for someone who had, chronic issues in her arm, shoulder, elbow, from at her desk at work. And when I was in there looking at her desk setup, the mouse was like way over there. Really poor ergonomics. And I guess she didn't think about it because she just kept using it. There are a lot of desks that people are using that were not designed for, computers with a mouse and stuff like that. And so they're not set up properly for ease of use for the body. So if you have something about where you work that has like extra strain on your body just because of what it takes to be able to work there, adjust it if you can. So it's like for her, I just brought the mouse closer to her body, moved some stuff on her desk, rearranged it a little bit so that she could actually reach the mouse on her desk without having to go woo way over, because that wasn't working for her. She had all kinds of pain, and as soon as we changed it, it started to feel better because she wasn't adding to the strain and imbalance in her body every single day. Made so much difference. And part of what happens with our work setups, the ergonomics, is if it's always been this way, I kind of don't think about it. I don't notice because it's just what I always have to do to be able to get my work done. So sometimes it requires getting somebody else's eyes on it, somebody else's perspective. So adjustments can be made. And that's a big stress that is a physical stress. But if I am having to, contort myself to be able to do my work, that's also a mental and emotional stress. It's a physical stress and a mental emotional stress because the extra work and focus and effort that it takes to be able to perform. And if I had to, be over there doing the fine manipulation that is required for using a mouse would also be more difficult. So again, just more work for the brain, the body, everything to be able to coordinate. So that's something that you can do to help to manage, let go of stress. Let's think of something else. So let's think about the impact of relationships, because sometimes relationships are stressful, and how I manage the stresses coming from relationships can be critical. If I think about a time when I have had bad, difficult circumstances going on in my relationship, and how there's like this background always worry. I may be at my work, I was a massage therapist and in a what is now no longer existing marriage, right? I'm much happier with my current marriage, my husband now. So, but it was like this continuous worry, this continuous stress that affected my ability to be present in my work and to be happy and satisfied with what I was doing because of this ongoing stress that was in my life, in my relationship. So, if that is going on, that can be more difficult to manage because if this is a marriage, for example, or a relationship with a child or something like that that is stressful, or a relationship with a boss or a coworker, those are stresses that a lot of people have. And I don't really maybe have control over that. I can't just turn those stresses off. So, how do I manage it? What do I do? Part of it is just being aware that that stress is there. And if it's a stress that I am not going to be able to turn off, reduce significantly, or get rid of, then I have to figure out how can I reduce the impact of this stress on my body, on my health, on my mental function, on my happiness. There are some of life's stressors that are like that I can't get rid of it. So finding a way to support myself that enables the impact of that stress to be less impactful. There are some people who have health things going on that are really stressful. I mean, I met someone recently who has, a genetic condition that causes lots of symptoms. And she's having to have surgery, all these things, tremendous amount of stress. And I think part of how she manages it is she just chooses to be positive about it and do the best she can and not let it create that kind of stress. So it's like human beings are very resilient. We do whatever we need to do to be able to make it. So, whatever your situation is, whatever stresses that are that you have, you can do it. You can do it. And sometimes you need support. You need help. What help can you reach out for? Who can you draw in to be there to support you so that you're not carrying the load of that stress completely on your own? These are all things that are so important. And that when I am stuck in the stress, in the going of it, sometimes I don't necessarily think about what the options are, about how I can help myself reduce the impact of the stress. So I hope some of these ideas have been helpful for you. One of the things that I do is Biofield Tuning, using tuning forks and sound in the energy field to help with all sorts of things. One of the things that Biofield Tuning is fabulous at is helping to manage stress, helping to release the impacts of stress, to help to relax that tension. Let the weight of the responsibilities of the world off my shoulders, and to breathe and be present now. Starting October 27th, Wednesday at 5:30 p.m. Pacific time, I have a Biofield Tuning group session series that is starting, focusing on memory and clear thinking. supporting us in being able to maintain mental function, perhaps even rebuild the ability to have memory and brain function through a full, healthy, and happy life. This is actually going to be an 8-session series because it was originally going to be one session yesterday. And I realized that it's such a big, complex topic that it is actually really important that I turned it into a full series. It's going to be pretty comprehensive. And the sessions are going to be every other week. I was thinking about making them weekly, but I decided actually to keep it every other week because for brain function, it's going to make the biggest difference doing this work if I incorporate things into my daily life. Incorporating change into my daily life, that is where the difference is made. So I am building into this program time for the people who are participating to pay attention, to set some intentions, and to start changing lifestyle habits. 3 of the sessions are going to focus on food and eating related issues because that is such an important part of how we can protect and rebuild the ability of the brain to function. So food is going to be a very significant part of it. And then there are other topics that we're going to be covering for the 4 through 8, 5 through 8. There's going to be 8 sessions, 2 sets of 4. So if you are interested in participating or if you want information, I'm going to put information on how to check out this series in the comments. If you have questions for me, love to answer your questions. There is the option for participating in 2 sessions, 4 sessions, or all 8. And if you start out with a lower number and you decide you want to do the full thing, then that's certainly available as well. So I look forward to sharing with you about brain function, memory, stress reduction in the coming weeks, because I'm going to be talking about this more as we lead into this coming series. This is Thursday Tips for Thriving. I hope this has provided some value for you. Let me know what you think, because I want to hear. Breathe. Take care of yourself. Be well.